Welcome to this summary and analysis of Book 4 in the Brothers Karamazov. This book is called Lacerations, and it's a kind of self-inflicted open wounds caused by twisted pride, also seeking indirectly to hurt others. Lacerations can be translated to nadriv in Russian. Father Zosima's death was imminent, and everyone in the room held their breath in anticipation, desperately hoping for some divine intervention. His weak voice uttered his final words to Alyosha, urging him to go home and spread the wisdom of love. Father Fairpont, however, remained unconvinced of this path, and instead advocated for a life of austerity and fear. Fairpont tells others he has seen devils there, but few believe him. Alyosha arrived at his father's home to find Fyodor alone, where he was trying to make sense of the events occurring between Ivan and Katerina. Why is Ivan trying to steal Mitya's fiancée? He looked at Alyosha with an intense gaze and encouraged him to stay strong and stand by the values Zosima had taught him. This since he can't trust his other children and the end is near. On his way home, Alyosha heard the malicious laughter of a group of boys. He ran over and saw them surrounding a smaller boy, hurling stones at him in a fit of rage. He tried to intervene, but was met with resistance and ended up getting bitten on his hand. Alyosha stumbled into Mrs. Koklakova's house, where she attended to his wounds. Lise was in the corner, mumbling about a joke she had written in her letter, which Alyosha refused to accept. He promised her he would follow Zosima's advice, that when she was old enough, he would marry her. While this conversation continued, Katerina listened from the corner, nervously wringing her hands as Mrs. Koklakova chattered about Ivan and Katerina's horrifying farce. Alyosha's heart raced as he watched Katerina and Ivan, their eyes locked together in a passionate debate. Alyosha pled for her to abandon her ambitions to save Dmitri and fall for Ivan, but his heartfelt words were met with only more fervor and determination from Katerina. She declared that eventually she would receive divine justice. Ivan simply smiled with admiration and announced that he would be leaving for Moscow in the morning. At first he confessed to Alyosha that Katerina has never loved him, but only used him as a revenge on Mitya. As he left the room, Alyosha felt a wave of anguish wash over him, a reminder of his own helplessness in the situation. What if Katerina can't love anyone of them, he thought. Dmitri, Ivan and Katerina are such experts at hurting each other and themselves, but why? He stepped out of the house, his fist tightly clenched around 200 rubles, money that Katerina had asked him to deliver to a retired army officer, Snegiryov, the man who had been publicly disgraced by Dmitri, dragged by his beard while a young boy begged for mercy, only to be met with gusts of laughter. Now it was Alyosha's mission to offer a form of atonement, to be a brother to the same man who had suffered at the hands of Dmitri, who had wounded Katerina. As Alyosha stepped through the door of the Snegiryov's home, he was met with a scene of abject poverty. The small room was cramped and dimly lit, and the family was barely clothed. He could see from their shrunken figures and strained faces that life held little joy for them. The captain of the family sat at the table, his back hunched and his eyes hard. His wife looked frail and bewildered, and his two daughters leaned against each other in a desperate embrace, their thin arms providing comfort that Alyosha knew could not last. A young boy peered out from beneath the table, a memory of Alyosha's encounter with him in the street still fresh in his mind. Ilyusha is always on his father's side and can be seen as Alyosha's double with their pure hearts. His big wound is not caused by the rocks thrown at him, but the life his father and the family must endure. Alyosha placed 200 rubles on the table and watched as their eyes lit up with hope, only to be extinguished as the captain roared in anger and threw the money on the floor. He stood before them defiantly, unwilling to allow them to take charity to repair his broken honor. Alyosha met his gaze with a gentle but determined look before picking up the money and returning it to Katerina, hoping to restore some dignity to their desperate lives. When analyzing this book 4 of the Brothers Karamazov, we can sure learn a lot, especially from all these lacerations. The concept of nadriv, or self-inflicted pain for the purpose of feeling something deeply, is quite often seen in the book. This concept highlights the idea that individuals can choose to take control of their lives, sometimes even by experiencing pain, in order to understand the human condition better and to find meaning in their lives. The characters of Father Ferapont and Father Zosima serve as an example of the dangers of comparing oneself to others and the importance of humility in one's pursuits of becoming a better person. The character of Father Ferapont is portrayed as someone who pretends to be good, but does not possess the same level of goodness as Father Zosima. He is also competitive with Father Zosima and sees goodness as a competition, which is a negative attitude here. On the other hand, Father Zosima is portrayed as a truly good person who does not see goodness as a competition and who is humble in his pursuits. The character of Ilyusha, the boy, who is being bullied by other boys, illustrates the importance of empathy and understanding in dealing with difficult situations. The character of Alyosha, who tries to save Ilyusha, demonstrates empathy and understanding by not reacting with anger or violence, but instead calmly asking Ilyusha why he bit him. The character of Alyosha, who tries to save Ilyusha and mediates between Snegiryov and Dmitri, serves as an example of the positive impact that a peacemaker can have on a community. The book presents different characters with different perspectives, values, and beliefs, and this shows that there is no one right way of living and thinking, but rather it is important to consider different perspectives and strive for understanding and empathy in our relationship with others. Finally, the book teaches us that life is complex and our actions have an impact on others, of course. And then it's important to strive for empathy and understanding in our relationship with others, and that we need to find our own right ways of living and thinking.